Research is hard, but your tools should not be. Subthesis.com is the free alternative to expensive software. Whether you need to calculate Cronbach's alpha or organize your field notes, Subthesis has a tool for it. No paywalls and no registration required. Check the link in the description and let's dive into today's lesson. Welcome to our video on preparing for the academic job market. This is a topic that generates significant anxiety among graduate students, and for understandable reasons. The academic job market is competitive, the stakes feel enormous, and the process can seem opaque and arbitrary to those experiencing it for the first time. Let me offer some perspective at the outset. Yes, the market is challenging. Yes, preparation matters enormously, but thousands of people successfully navigate this process every year, and strategic preparation significantly improves your chances. The goal of this video isn't to sugarcoat a difficult reality, but to help you approach it with clear eyes and solid strategy. Over the next 20 minutes, we'll explore the landscape of the academic job market and how it varies across disciplines. We'll cover the timeline and key milestones you should understand. We'll discuss crafting compelling application materials that present you effectively. We'll address preparing for campus visits where hiring decisions are actually made, and we'll touch on managing the emotional dimensions of a process that can feel all-consuming. Whether the academic job market is a year away or several years away, understanding this process now helps you make decisions throughout graduate school that position you well for success. Let's begin. The academic job market isn't a single market, it's many overlapping markets with dramatically different conditions. Understanding the landscape helps you position yourself appropriately. Market conditions vary enormously by field. Some STEM fields have relatively favorable markets with multiple offers for strong candidates. Some humanities and social science fields have dire ratios of candidates to positions. Know your specific field's market conditions, not just general impressions of academia. Different position types offer different career paths. Tenure-track positions at research universities emphasize research productivity. Teaching-focused positions at liberal arts colleges or community colleges prioritize pedagogy and student engagement. Research positions at labs or institutes may involve no teaching. Postdoctoral positions provide additional training before permanent employment. Contingent positions, visiting, adjunct, lecturer, offer employment without long-term security. The supply-demand imbalance in many fields is real. More PhDs are produced than tenure-track positions exist. This doesn't mean academic careers are impossible. It means you need to be strategic and potentially flexible about position types and locations. Honest assessment of market conditions informs realistic planning. Regional and institutional variations matter. Elite research universities operate differently than regional comprehensive universities. Different countries have different academic systems and hiring practices. Location preferences and constraints shape your available options significantly. Timing and luck play undeniable roles. The year you go on the market, which positions happen to open, who else applies, factors beyond your control significantly influence outcomes. This reality argues for both strategic preparation for what you can control and equanimity about what you cannot. Most academic job markets follow annual cycles with predictable phases. Understanding this timeline helps you prepare appropriately and avoid being caught off guard. Summer before your job market year is prime preparation time. You should be polishing your dissertation, drafting application materials, identifying positions to apply for, and securing letter writers. Starting application preparation during the busy academic year puts you behind. Fall brings application deadlines. In many fields, positions are posted in late summer and fall with deadlines clustering from September through December. You may submit dozens of applications during this period, each requiring customization. Organization systems for tracking applications become essential. Some fields conduct initial interviews at major conferences in winter or early spring. These interviews, often held in hotel rooms or convention centers, narrow the applicant pool before campus visits. Not all fields use conference interviews, so understand your discipline's practices. Campus visits typically occur in late winter or spring. Finalists, usually 3 to 5 candidates per position, are invited to campus for 1 or 2 days of intensive evaluation. This is where hiring decisions are actually made. Visits include job talks, meetings with faculty and students, meals, and often teaching demonstrations. Offers and negotiations follow successful visits. Multiple candidates may receive offers sequentially rather than simultaneously. Negotiations may involve salary, startup funds, course releases, and other terms. The process from first application to accepted offer often spans 6 to 9 months. Before discussing application materials, let's address the underlying candidacy those materials represent. Strong materials can't compensate for a weak candidacy, so building your profile throughout graduate school is essential. Dissertation completion or substantial progress is typically expected. Some fields hire all but dissertation candidates with strong completion prospects. Others expect the completed dissertation. Regardless, demonstrating that you can finish the dissertation, the first major independent research project, is fundamental to being considered for positions requiring subsequent independent research. Publications signal research productivity and potential. In many fields, publications are the primary screening criterion. What counts varies by discipline: journal articles, book chapters, conference proceedings, working papers. Know your field's expectations and work toward meeting them. Publications demonstrate that you can move research from conception to completion and publication. Teaching experience demonstrates classroom competence. For teaching-focused positions, extensive teaching experience with documented effectiveness is essential. For research positions, some teaching experience showing competence is expected, even if teaching isn't the primary focus. Diverse teaching experiences, different courses, different formats strengthen your profile. Service contributions show citizenship and collaboration. Committee work, organizing conferences, mentoring junior students, professional association involvement. These demonstrate that you'll be a contributing colleague. Service matters less than research and teaching in most evaluations, but matters more at institutions emphasizing collegiality. Your professional network provides both visibility and letter writers. Strong letters from respected scholars who know your work well significantly influence outcomes. Build these relationships well before you need letters. Your curriculum vitae is the comprehensive record of your academic achievements and activities. Unlike a resume, the academic CV includes everything relevant. There's no page limit to hit. Standard CV sections include education, academic positions, publications, presentations, teaching, service, awards and honors, professional memberships, and sometimes relevant professional experience outside academia. Some fields expect additional sections: grants, creative works, performances, clinical experience. Know your field's conventions. Order sections by importance for your field and career stage. For research positions, publications often come early. For teaching positions, teaching experience might be prominently placed. Early career CVs often front-load education and publications. Later career CVs might emphasize leadership and major achievements. Strategic ordering draws attention to your strengths. Clear, clean formatting enables easy reading. Use consistent headings, logical organization, and enough white space. Don't cram information together to seem more accomplished. Cluttered CVs are harder to evaluate. Reviewers may spend only minutes on your CV. Make their job easy. Update your CV continually throughout your career, not just when applying for jobs. Add publications, presentations, and awards as they occur. An up-to-date CV is always ready when opportunities arise unexpectedly. Many academics update their CVs monthly or after each significant accomplishment. Get CV models from successful job candidates in your field. Your advisor or career center may have examples. Seeing what works in your discipline provides better guidance than generic CV advice. The cover letter is often your first impression, where committees decide whether to read the rest of your application carefully. Strong cover letters require significant investment. Customized substantively for each position. Generic letters that could apply to any position signal lack of genuine interest. Reference specific aspects of the department, institution, and position. Mention faculty you might collaborate with, programs that align with your interests, courses you could teach. Committees notice when candidates have done their homework. Balance research, teaching, and fit appropriately for the position type. Research university positions want substantial discussion of your research program. Teaching-focused positions want substantial attention to your pedagogy and teaching interests. All positions want to understand how you'd fit their specific community. Read position ads carefully for signals about what matters. Demonstrate genuine knowledge of the institution. Don't just say you'd love to work there. Explain why specifically. What draws you to their program? How does your work connect to what they do? Evidence of genuine interest distinguishes applications. Vague enthusiasm is unconvincing. Write clearly and compellingly throughout. The cover letter demonstrates your communication ability. Academic writing that's dense and jargon-laden hurts you here. Write for an intelligent reader who may not share your subfield expertise. Tell the story of your work and why it matters. Cover letters typically run 2 to 3 pages, though conventions vary by field. Convey essential information without unnecessary padding. Every paragraph should serve a clear purpose in your overall argument for why you should be hired. The research statement narrates your research program, what you've done, what you're doing, and where you're heading. It demonstrates scholarly identity and future potential. Tell a coherent story about your research. How did your interests develop? What questions drive your work? How do your projects connect? Even if your work spans different areas, find the thread that makes it coherent. Reviewers want to understand who you are as a scholar, not just what you've published. Cover past, present, and future research. Past work establishes your credentials and demonstrates productivity. Current projects show what you're actively pursuing. Future directions indicate where you'll go next, essential for evaluating your potential over a career. Balance all three appropriately. Write accessibly for non-specialists. Your application may be evaluated by scholars outside your immediate area. Technical jargon and assumed knowledge limit comprehension. Explain your work so any intelligent academic reader can understand its importance and contribution. Demonstrate independence and vision. What's distinctive about your approach? What contributions are uniquely yours? Where will you lead your field? Committees hire for future potential, not just past accomplishments. Show that you have an exciting research agenda that will continue producing significant work. Connect your research to institutional resources where appropriate. Will you use specific facilities, collaborate with particular colleagues, supervise certain kinds of students? Showing how you'd thrive at this specific institution strengthens your case. The teaching statement articulates your teaching philosophy and provides evidence of your effectiveness. Its importance varies by position type, but shouldn't be neglected in any application. Ground philosophy in specific practices. Avoid abstract platitudes about student-centered learning without concrete examples. What do you actually do in the classroom? How do you structure courses? What techniques do you use? Abstract philosophy without practice is unconvincing. Specific practices demonstrate genuine pedagogical thought. Provide evidence of teaching effectiveness, course evaluations, teaching awards, student comments, peer observations, whatever documentation you have of successful teaching. Raw numbers matter less than pattern of effectiveness. If your evaluations have improved over time, that demonstrates growth. If particular aspects consistently receive praise, highlight them. Identify courses you could teach and develop. Show fit with the institution's curricular needs. Could you teach existing courses, develop new ones, contribute to curriculum in distinctive ways, especially for teaching-focused positions? Demonstrating curricular contribution matters significantly. Align with institutional mission where appropriate. Liberal arts colleges may value mentoring undergraduates differently than research universities. Community colleges prioritize access and student success. Showing understanding of the institution's specific teaching context demonstrates fit. Show ongoing commitment to teaching development. What workshops have you attended? What new techniques have you tried? How do you continue growing as a teacher? Evidence of commitment to improvement signals that your teaching will continue strengthening throughout your career. Letters of recommendation significantly influence hiring decisions. Strong letters from respected scholars who know your work well can make the difference in competitive markets. Choose letter writers who know your work well and can speak specifically about your abilities. A generic letter from a famous scholar may be less valuable than a detailed letter from someone who has worked closely with you. Quality of content matters more than name recognition alone, though letters from well-known scholars who also know your work well are ideal. Include your advisor and committee members who know your dissertation research. Your advisor's letter is particularly important. A lukewarm letter from your advisor raises red flags. If your relationship with your advisor is complicated, address this strategically, perhaps through conversation or additional strong letters. Provide materials to help letter writers write effective letters. Your CV, research and teaching statements, dissertation abstract, and list of positions you're applying for help writers customize their letters. Providing this information respects their time and produces better letters. Some candidates provide draft language, highlighting points they hope writers will address. Manage deadlines proactively. Give writers at least a month's notice, ideally more. Send reminders as deadlines approach. Track which letters have been submitted for each position. Late letters can disqualify applications. Proactive management prevents this. Thank writers appropriately throughout the process. A brief email acknowledging their support at key points, when they agree to write, when applications are submitted, when you receive outcomes, maintains goodwill. Writers who feel appreciated are more likely to write enthusiastic letters. Beyond standard materials, applications may require additional items. Preparing these in advance prevents scrambling during application season. Writing samples showcase your scholarly work, typically your best published piece or a dissertation chapter. Choose work that demonstrates your abilities and represents your research identity. For positions in specific areas, samples relevant to those areas may be appropriate. Some applications request multiple samples or samples of different types. Sample syllabi demonstrate teaching vision in concrete form. Prepare syllabi for courses you could realistically teach at target institutions. Syllabi should include learning objectives, course structure, readings, assignments, and grading criteria. Well-designed syllabi signal pedagogical sophistication. Teaching evaluations provide evidence of classroom effectiveness. Prepare summary documents if evaluations are extensive. Some institutions have specific forms for reporting teaching data. Having evaluations organized and ready prevents delays in submitting applications. Diversity statements are increasingly expected. These articulate your commitment to and experience with diversity, equity, and inclusion. Reflect genuinely on how you've contributed to inclusive environments and how you'd continue doing so. Perfunctory statements that don't engage meaningfully with diversity concerns are worse than ineffective. Various administrative documents, transcripts, reference lists, application forms require attention to detail. Incomplete applications may be disqualified regardless of other qualifications. Track exactly what each position requires and verify complete submission. If your application advances, you'll face interviews either at conferences, via video, or during campus visits. Thorough preparation significantly improves performance. Research each institution thoroughly before interviews. Understand their programs, recent hires, strategic initiatives, student population, and any challenges they face. Know the faculty in your area and how your work might connect with theirs. Demonstrating knowledge of the institution signals genuine interest and enables substantive conversation. Prepare for standard interview questions. Why are you interested in this position? Describe your research program. How would you teach course X? What are your plans for future research? What questions do you have for us? Practice answers that are substantive, focused, and authentic. Unprepared rambling undermines even strong candidates. Practice articulating your research clearly to non-specialist audiences. You should have a crisp description of your work, your elevator pitch, ready to deploy. More extended explanations should be accessible and compelling. Committee members outside your subfield need to understand and appreciate your work. Develop questions to ask them. Good questions demonstrate engagement and help you assess fit. Ask about department culture, resources for research, expectations for tenure, teaching loads, and other factors that matter to you. Interviews are mutual evaluation. You're assessing them too. Practice until confident but not scripted. Over-rehearsed answers sound robotic and prevent natural conversation. You want to be prepared enough that you're not caught off guard, but flexible enough to engage authentically with what actually happens in the interview. Campus visits are where hiring decisions are actually made. These intensive 1 to 2 day visits include multiple evaluation components. Treat every moment as evaluation time. The job talk is typically the centerpiece of campus visits. This formal presentation of your research is carefully evaluated. Can you communicate your work effectively? Do you handle questions well? Does your research seem significant and promising? Job talk performance often determines outcomes. Prepare and practice extensively. Multiple individual meetings with faculty, administrators, and sometimes students fill much of the visit. These conversations allow mutual assessment of fit. Be prepared to discuss your work, your interests, departmental matters, and collaboration possibilities. Stay engaged through what can be many hours of meetings. Meals are both evaluation and recovery time. Conversations at breakfast, lunch, and dinner feel more casual but are still part of the assessment. You're being observed for collegiality and social compatibility. Pace yourself with food and absolutely avoid alcohol in excess. Teaching demonstrations are common, especially for teaching-focused positions. You may be asked to teach a real class or give a sample lesson. Demonstrate pedagogical skill, student engagement, and preparation. This component shows whether you can actually do the job, not just talk about it. Through all of this, remember that you're being evaluated throughout, from airport pickup to final departure. Fatigue, frustration, and lapses in collegiality can undermine otherwise strong candidates. Maintain professional engagement for the entire visit. The job talk often determines campus visit outcomes. Invest heavily in preparing and practicing this crucial presentation. Tell a clear narrative accessible to a broad audience. Not everyone in your job talk will be a specialist in your area. Structure your presentation so anyone in your discipline can follow the main argument and understand the contribution. Technical depth matters, but so does accessibility. Demonstrate rigor and scholarly contribution. What have you actually discovered or argued? Why does it matter? Show that your work meets the standards of your field and advances knowledge. Committees are assessing whether your research program will continue producing significant work. Engage with questions confidently, but not defensively. Question periods reveal how you think on your feet and how you respond to challenge. Thoughtful responses to difficult questions impress more than perfect answers to easy ones. Acknowledge limitations honestly rather than evading them. Show intellectual flexibility and depth. Questions may push beyond your prepared material, demonstrating that you've thought broadly about your research area and can engage with unexpected angles shows intellectual maturity. Candidates who can only recite their presentation seem narrow. Practice extensively before delivery. Practice with your advisor, your peers, and anyone who will listen. Time your presentation carefully. Going over time signals poor preparation. Practice handling questions. Practice until you're confident, engaging, and able to adapt to room conditions. Video yourself to identify habits you might want to adjust. In competitive markets, rejection is not a sign of personal failure. It's a normal part of the process. Handling rejection well is essential for navigating the job market successfully. Rejection is normal when competition is intense. Excellent candidates get rejected because there are more excellent candidates than positions. A rejection doesn't mean you shouldn't be an academic. It often means you were one of several outstanding finalists and someone else was selected this time. Normalize rejection rather than catastrophizing it. Seek feedback where possible, though it may be limited. Some institutions provide feedback to candidates, many don't. Your advisor might have informal information about how applications were received. Feedback helps you understand whether there are weaknesses to address or whether you simply face stiff competition. Process disappointment without spiraling into crisis. Rejection hurts. It's appropriate to feel disappointed. Talk to supportive people. Take time to recover, but don't let each rejection compound into existential despair. Maintain equilibrium so you can continue the search effectively. Maintain perspective on what's controllable. You control your preparation, your application quality, and your interview performance. You don't control who else applies, what the committee values, or internal department politics. Focus energy on what you can influence, accept what you cannot, plan for multiple contingencies from the start. What if you don't get a tenure track position this cycle? What alternative positions exist? What non-academic options might you pursue? Having contingency plans reduces the pressure on any single outcome and provides security if the market doesn't cooperate. If you receive an offer, negotiation is expected. Not negotiating often means leaving value on the table. Understanding negotiation norms helps you advocate effectively for yourself. Negotiation is normal in academic hiring. Institutions expect candidates to negotiate. Initial offers are often not final offers. Failing to negotiate may signal naivety rather than gratitude. Approach negotiation as a normal part of the process, not as an aggressive or inappropriate act. Know what's negotiable at different institutions. Public universities may have constrained salary ranges with more flexibility on startup. Private institutions may have more overall flexibility. Understanding what can move and what cannot helps you focus negotiation energy appropriately. Consider the full package, not just salary. Startup funds for research, course releases, summer salary, travel support, equipment, moving expenses, and timeline for arrival all have significant value. Sometimes improvements in these areas compensate for constrained salary movement. Evaluate the entire offer holistically. Be professional and reasonable throughout negotiation. Make requests that are justified and proportionate. Explain why you need what you're asking for. Maintain goodwill with people you'll be working with for years. Aggressive negotiation tactics that might work in other contexts can damage relationships in academic settings where collegiality matters. Get everything negotiated in writing before accepting. Verbal commitments may not survive administrative changes. A formal offer letter specifying all terms protects both parties. If something matters enough to negotiate, it matters enough to document. Academic positions vary significantly in their expectations and rewards. Understanding different position types helps you identify what suits you and prepare appropriately. Research universities prioritize scholarship. Faculty spend significant time on research and graduate supervision. Teaching loads are lighter, but research expectations are substantial. Success is measured primarily by publications, grants, and scholarly impact. If research is your passion, these environments support it, but expectations are high. Liberal arts colleges emphasize undergraduate teaching and mentoring. Faculty teach more, but within a community focused on student development. Research expectations exist, but are balanced with teaching duties. These positions suit those who value close student relationships and teaching excellence alongside scholarship. Community colleges focus on access and teaching. Faculty positions emphasize excellent teaching to diverse student populations, often including adult learners and students from underrepresented backgrounds. Research expectations are minimal or absent. These positions suit those passionate about teaching and student access to education. Teaching-intensive universities combine elements, more teaching than research universities, more research than community colleges. These vary significantly. Understanding specific institutional expectations matters. Many positions exist in this middle space that may receive less attention than the extremes. Postdoctoral positions provide additional training before permanent employment. Increasingly common in many fields, postdocs offer time to strengthen your record, complete additional publications, and mature as a scholar. They're not permanent positions but can position you well for subsequent tenure track searches. Geographic constraints significantly shape job market outcomes. Understanding how location factors interact with academic opportunities helps you make informed decisions. Academic jobs aren't everywhere. Unlike some professions where you can work in most cities, academic positions cluster in specific locations. The position that fits your expertise may be in a place you've never considered living. This geographic dispersion is a fundamental feature of academic job markets. Location flexibility increases your options substantially. Candidates willing to consider any location have access to more opportunities than those limited to specific regions. Some of the best positions may be in unexpected places. Evaluating positions based solely on location may cause you to miss excellent opportunities. Dual career considerations add significant complexity. If you have a partner who also needs employment, finding positions that work for both of you is challenging. Some institutions have spousal hiring programs, others do not. Dual career constraints are among the most difficult practical challenges on the academic market. Cost of living varies dramatically and affects real compensation. A salary that provides comfortable living in one location may create financial strain in another. Evaluate offers in light of local costs. Sometimes apparently lower salaries in affordable areas provide better quality of life than higher salaries in expensive ones. Consider long-term lifestyle fit. Where do you want to live for potentially decades? What matters for your well-being and relationships? These questions don't have easy answers, but ignoring them creates problems. Academic careers are long. Location decisions affect much more than work. Job market success depends significantly on preparation that begins long before you actually apply for positions. Understanding the extended timeline helps you invest appropriately throughout graduate school. Start preparing years before going on market. The publications, teaching experience, and relationships that determine competitiveness take years to build. Waiting until your final year to think about the job market puts you at a disadvantage against candidates who've been building their profiles deliberately. Build credentials throughout graduate school. Every publication, presentation, course taught, and professional relationship contributes to your eventual candidacy. Make decisions with job market implications in mind, not obsessively, but thoughtfully. The student who publishes steadily throughout graduate school arrives at the job market differently positioned than one who planned to publish later. Intensify preparation the year before market entry. Polish your dissertation so completion is credible. Draft application materials. Identify letter writers. Research the landscape of positions you'll apply for. This intensive preparation year sets up effective execution during the actual market year. Execute strategically during the market year. Submit applications carefully and thoroughly. Prepare for interviews and visits systematically. Manage the emotional challenges of the process. All your prior preparation comes to fruition or reveals its gaps during this intense period. Recognize that multiple years on market may be needed. Many successful academics don't get positions in their first year on market. Second and third attempts, especially with additional publications or postdoctoral experience, often succeed where first attempts didn't. Plan for a potentially extended process. Let's apply what we've covered by assessing your own job market preparation and planning. Honest self-assessment helps you use remaining time effectively. First, assess your current competitiveness honestly. What publications do you have? What teaching experience? How strong are your relationships with potential letter writers? How does your profile compare to recent successful candidates in your field? Honest assessment, not wishful thinking, enables effective planning. Second, research your specific market. How many positions in your area typically open each year? What credentials do successful candidates have? What's the typical path? Direct hire from PhD, postdoc first, multiple market cycles. Talk to recent hires, check job placement records, and gather concrete information about your particular market. Third, identify gaps between your current profile and typical successful candidates. Where are you strong? Where are you weak? Which gaps can you address in remaining time? Which represent genuine limitations? Prioritize gap-closing activities that most improve your competitiveness. Fourth, create a realistic timeline. How many months until you'd go on the market? What can you accomplish in that time? What milestones will you aim for? A timeline with specific goals keeps you on track. Fifth, develop contingency plans. What if the tenure track market doesn't work out? What alternative positions would you consider? What non-academic options exist? Having contingencies reduces anxiety and provides security if your preferred outcome doesn't materialize. Let's consolidate what we've covered about preparing for the academic job market. The academic job market is competitive but navigable with strategic preparation. Thousands of people successfully find academic positions each year. Understanding the landscape, preparing thoroughly, and executing effectively improve your chances significantly. Preparation throughout graduate school matters. You cannot create credentials at the last minute. publications, teaching experience, professional relationships, and scholarly identity develop over years. Every stage of graduate school should include attention to building the profile that will eventually compete on the market. Strong application materials require significant investment. Cover letters, research statements, teaching statements, and all supporting documents deserve careful crafting. Generic or hastily prepared materials undermine otherwise strong candidates. Invest the time to represent yourself effectively. Manage rejection as a normal part of the process, not as a verdict on your worth. Competitive markets mean excellent people don't get offers. Processing disappointment without spiraling, maintaining perspective, and continuing forward are essential skills for job market navigation. In our next video, we'll explore alternative careers for graduate degree holders, the many paths available to people with advanced degrees beyond traditional academic positions. Understanding these alternatives provides both backup options and potentially attractive primary choices. The skills you develop in graduate school have value far beyond academia. Writing the thesis is a marathon, not a sprint, but you do not have to run it alone. If you are feeling stuck with your data or overwhelmed by your sources, let us help. Head over to subthesis.com. It is completely free and designed to make your life easier. You are making progress. Keep going. And don't forget to subscribe for more support.